This is Frozen Takes. We are back. We are so back, guys. It has been months, months,
What up, what
months.
up, what up, everyone?
How's it going, guys?
It is so good to be back. It has been months. This aching hole in my heart is now
Yeah.
being filled.
It's your
Uh,
aorta. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah. Right.
You see, I told you guys to take the reins on this when I started my college work, and yet here I am bringing us back together again. Just throwing
Well,
that out there
listen,
for you
listen.
guys.
Fuck.
You gotta define take the reins because
Okay.
we were kind of in the lull of seeing what would happen with the draft. We were kind of in the lull of
Uh,
the beginning of baseball season.
uh,
Life was happening.
Yeah,
yeah.
All kinds of fun things.
all kinds
So
of fun things. But we're
yeah,
back in
yeah.
the saddle. That's what
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Woohoo!
Anyway, enough of this bull honky. Welcome back to Frozen Takes, guys. It has been much too long. I'm Alex. I'm joined by two of my best friends, Ray and Fred. We are three dum dums that take dumb dumb to just another level. We talk sports. We argue like you wouldn't believe it. We roast each other. We call each other names, but who cares? It's sports, and we love sports. And we're going to talk all things sports tonight. We're going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to ease ourselves back in, talk about the NFL draft just a teeny tiny bit, and I'm sure the guys will roast me for some silly, stupid reason. We'll
Well,
also
you're an
talk.
Eagles fan. We have to. It's practice. We have to.
Always. Always.
Anyway, anyway, we can't forget Ray. He's wearing his new Brew Crew jersey. However, they didn't really do all that hot whenever Ray started wearing the jersey. He's not there looking like
so
Sean.
Except for
so
today.
here
Except for today.
so here's yeah, but I mean, even a cat poops in the litter box once in a while. You know what I
Chur-
mean? Like, come
Churio.
on.
Churio's still out. William Contreras was one hit away from the cycle. He went 4 for 4 today, and he was just a triple away from hitting the cycle. So close today. So close.
And
So
and
close.
yet
Hmm.
and yet
Horse,
He
you know,
went
close.
so
four
Horse.
for four.
so
He went 4 for
far.
4 and got
Look,
on base his fifth at bat with getting walked. He was perfect today at the plate. He did just what he needed to do.
I mean,
look.
I get it. I get it, but there are
Close only.
anomalies in sports.
And again, as a wise man once said, and Ray, I know you will appreciate this. Close only counts in hand shoes and horse grenades.
Yeah.
Kaboom. So
So,
on that note, I got to bring up something great. They're one of the greatest finds of 2026
Oh, no.
since
You're going to make
since
me
Ray
put this on now, aren't you?
absolutely
Now, aren't
since
you?
Ray and the
Oh.
sheer reflection that is his cranium, we got to do something about that. So
I hate
I
you.
found
Put it
one
out
of the
there. I hate
greatest
you.
things that could possibly ever be found, and this describes Ray better than
I would
anything.
say,
I would
Now,
rather
also,
have my head bedazzled than wear this hat.
listen.
Don't
And
say
it's
that too
already
loud.
going to happen within the
Watch-
next couple of weeks.
Watch what you wish for, yeah. But on the same day that Ray had said that he got his new Brew Crew garb and how the curse of Ray
Yes.
is real.
It
As
is.
soon
It's
as he
very much
got
so.
as soon as he got his Brew Crew get up, his team tanked.
Yes. Very much so.
in epic proportions. So I said, don't worry, Ray. I have the perfect solution. Yes, I know you're not going to abandon your Brew Crew hat, but we're going to give you something that fits you a little bit better. Maybe
it'll
it'll
make you feel
bring,
better.
yeah, it'll make you
No, it
feel
won't.
better,
No, it
center
won't.
you a little bit,
No, it
and
won't.
help you forget about the demise that you brought to your beloved Brew Crew. So, without any further ado,
Ray.
let's see it, Ray. Let's see it. Break it out.
Wear it backwards, right? I'm gonna wear it backwards. There we go.
Mm,
There we go.
nah,
There we
nah.
go. All right, we're good. Anyway,
Wait, this might work. This might work. Ray, turn around your chair.
Oh, you're funny.
All
All right. There you go.
Get up in that camera. Let everybody read. The happy and loving cat mom has arrived on the podcast.
Oh, so cute.
I'm so glad you bought this hat for me.
We love it.
We have all these comments that are coming on the side here that want me to get my head bedazzled. And hi to all of you. I appreciate you all stopping in to say hi. But I got to wear this hat instead of everything else tonight.
Right.
And look,
right.
if any of Ray's are watching, listen closely. You have one assignment and one assignment only.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Bedazzle that man's head. That's all you got.
Bedazzle it. Bedazzle it like crazy.
The deal was they had to get
accelerated.
It's M's on the elementary scale, but like A's essentially. They had to get 5 A's on the report card. There's the group of them. Yeah, they all nailed that. All 5 of them got 5 A's on the report card. So now it's just a matter of, all right, now I gotta right after the PSAs are done, we're gonna do this.
Listen,
we're gonna make a TikTok of it, and it's gonna go. Yeah.
I'm normally not one
down.
I'm normally not one to call out any charities. But for sake of this, if any of you listening need some funds to help with this bedazzling to happen,
we got you.
Let us know. We got you.
We got you.
We want this to be the best bedazzling that Ray could ever experience. As a genuine cat mom, he's gonna love it.
Well, that's it for me, guys. I'm hopping off. You guys
Oh my God! See, guys, this is what happens when the 3 of us get together. We just talk nonsense for a good 10 minutes, and then we actually talk about real stuff. So we get it out of our systems. We're fine.
I mean, this was real stuff. This is actually happening.
This is real. This is about as real as it gets. For real,
this
is
about as real. Yeah. Oh, don't.
6'7".
No.
Ray's hat is a bussin'.
Stop it. Second of all, my 3-year-old has been told she's not allowed to say 6'7" in my house. Guess what she now says? She doesn't say 6'7".
You had
6'4". 6'4".
Yeah, see, got you. She got you.
Yeah, she knows what's up. It could be 7'6".
So now I guess it's like this.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, she's 3. I'll let it slide.
Yeah,
Just let it
she
go.
wins.
Just
she
let
wins.
it go. All right, guys. So a lot has happened. Fred, I know you and we were trying our darndest to touch on the Olympics a while back, but that's been on been a bit on the back burner. But I do want to touch on that a little bit. For the first time in, I can remember, the U.S. men and women's hockey team both win gold, both against Canada, with a golden goal. And on top of that, which I think is kind of awesome, out of the 8, believe it was out of the 12 golds that the United States won, 8 were won by women, which is a first in U.S. Olympic sports history. So for all of you girls out there watching, do not feel intimidated by any of the boys out there. This past Olympics is the example that you can do it. You can be the best. Do not let anybody stop your dreams. But guys, both of the hockey teams just killed it over the
Absolutely. Olympics. And on the baseball wing for that, the Baseball World Classic, that I was very impressed with some countries that I didn't think would do very well. And I'm hoping that the international stage that's now being more presented in both football and baseball, and also our Olympic presence, there used to be this invigorating childhood desire, whether you were going to be a policeman, a firefighter, an astronaut, or an athlete, somewhere along the line you were participating in a sport. And that has kind of waned off quite a bit. And I'm hoping that some of the, as as the media looks at them as secondary sports, like hockey should be a thing. Like it should be much bigger than what it is. And I know locally we just stepped into the lacrosse world in the last few years. And I think some of these sports that, may not be the top four, are sports that kids can enjoy and have opportunities with, that it's exciting to me to see the world stage grow in that respect. Canada, for instance, they had a great showing in the World Baseball Classic, and it just goes to show that Toronto probably shouldn't be the only team in Canada in the MLB. So I'm hoping that some of the interest that has come from these events will grow into not only the sports growing and the longevity of the sports being, nailed down, but also for the younger generations to be introduced to them and participate in them. And I think that, I know for my childhood, playing in sports was a core of what developed me to be a well-rounded adult. And I think kids today absolutely need that as part of their repertoire of life.
Now, let me ask you guys something, because I want to see what you guys think of this. So, obviously,
yes, we love your hat.
No, that's
love it. Love it. You don't even have to ask. We got you.
Yeah, you didn't have to bring it up again, but
well, like I said, I'm Ray. See, anyway. So they've talked about, like you were touching base on, bringing more sports into the Olympics. There's more stuff coming out and everything like that. Instead of putting football itself in the Olympics, what's our opinions on flag football being an Olympic sport, but contact football not? Because that's what's happening next. That's where we're at right now with the Olympics. What's our take on that?
Here's my thing on that, is that I think flag football is a bit more ubiquitous internationally than full contact tackle football. I didn't even know that full contact tackle football was a thing in Japan until recently, but that's kind of an outlier. Their leagues are very, very small. I just feel like that's not really something that the International Olympic community, the IOC, would really want to get involved in. Flag football, I think, is a good introduction. It's a little bit more ubiquitous. It's a little bit more accessible. I'm excited for flag football. I think it's going to be exciting. And I actually think it was kind of funny to see how, whenever the NFL players and flag footballers had a little bit of a, head-to-head competition, there was one game where the flag footballers just took it to the NFL guys, because flag football is a much different sport. But I just don't see full contact tackle football being a thing that the IOC would take on.
Well, I would say that the interesting thing to me is on the world stage, just like you said, American football, we haven't broken into the European rugby world as we probably should have, but there's so many rules about people being in bubble wrap to play a sport that I don't think it's going to be, ever make it to that scene. So I think maybe like you said, a transitional kind of introduction of sort of blending the two together, where you have flag football, the ball's always moving, you're not getting hit, you're not really at potential or the same level of potential risk, for people who are just being introduced to the sport, playing against guys who have conditioned their body their entire lives to hit a brick wall and keep pushing. So I think flag football is a great option. By the same token, years ago, no one thought that having bobsledding would ever be that big of a world thing, but then you got Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the Jamaicans.
Cool Runnings is one of my favorite movies, and to see the teams like that work hard at something that may not be mainstream for them, but they want to be able to compete, and they're athletic and they do what they need to do to get on that world stage. That's what the Olympics always were. It was people pushing themselves, no matter what they had to do to get there, to be on that world stage as part of the elite. And I think the ability for other sports to be introduced and be the best in the world at X is, incredible. I think it's a cool idea to have, some more, I hate to use the word obscure, but more obscure sports around the world to be considered at least as being something that others could compete at,
You guys know how I feel about football. I miss the old days of football when it was about knocking somebody's head off. You hit them hard. Are you good, Fred? Are you good?
Yes.
Well,
But I just miss the old. You guys have heard me say it millions of times during football season. Defense wins championships. I love watching defensive games. I'm a defensive guy. I miss the old way of hitting. I miss the way of we're out there to knock out the other team and do what we got to do. But it's not like that anymore. There's a lot of safety in place, and it's almost as if the NFL, while we still have a bit of contact, is slowly transitioning into a flag football state. So being the Olympics thing, it kind of makes sense. I'm not a fan of it personally, but that's just me personally. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the way it was before with all the new safety protocols and everything either. So
now remind me, with that being said, when we get to the point where we're discussing the draft and all that, there's a certain individual that my team dodged that goes right along with that. There's remind me again, about the more flag football-esque football that's been happening.
When it comes to the draft, Green Bay took an off year this year when we went and traded for Micah Parsons, so you guys can carry on with that. We drafted a kicker. That's the highlight of my draft. I'm glad we might have potentially drafted our kicker.
Kickers are people too. Kickers are people too.
After what happened in the playoffs, no, that man is not. So we're going to get started on that right now.
I got to highlight this too. Did you guys see the clip of the first Division I female pitcher?
I saw bits and pieces of it, yeah.
Okay, so this was the other night.
What the school was. I think it was Texas A&M, wasn't it? Or were they playing A&M?
They may have played A&M. We'll have to look that up. But I keep seeing in the chat people who are soccer players and have participation in sports that may not be part of the top elite four or whatever. But the guys who are in college and girls who are in college as kickers, they started off as being soccer players. Mm-hmm. And then you also look at, we barely touch on soccer in our podcast, but that's something that is incredibly worldwide and
popular,
and a very popular elite sport.
I'm going to fine tune this for you. I looked it up for you while you were talking about it here.
Right.
I'm probably going to butcher the name because we all know how great I am at pronouncing names. Olivia Picardo is the first woman to appear in an NCAA Division I baseball game, making her debut for Brown University on March 17, 2023 as a pinch hitter. The historic part of it more recently was she became the first woman to pitch in a Division I baseball game, retiring the batter she faced against Cornwell. So it's an Ivy League school, that's great. That means you're smart.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the other thing is too, in this situation, personally, I have some. Obviously, this could be up for debate, and you guys might have other opinions. And if you're in the chat and you have a different opinion, let us know. But I find it difficult to swallow when the bar is lowered from what the standard is in order to allow entry for group XYZ. If the bar has always been that a pitcher needs to be able to pitch at such and such a skill level, if you don't make it man, woman, child, horse, doesn't matter. If you don't make that, if you don't check those boxes, then you don't make it into that sport.
I mean,
The guy
oh my
who's
god, Air Bud, if he can do it, we can do it.
oh, hey, dream big, aim high, but
And he always hit nothing but net.
but the reality is,
I thought we were hitting bricks.
Look, that's what I would hit. All I got
okay.
was bricks.
no bricks or hitting anyway. But in this situation, it wasn't a lowering the bar for her to be able to participate. She was able to rise to that elite level and compete. And that tells me a lot about what you don't have to necessarily lower the bar. If someone is determined enough to be able to make it to that status, they can make it to that status. And, the history and naysayers be damned, there should be nothing that can keep anyone, regardless of their status, to be able to participate and get to that bar rather than lowering the bar so that everyone can do everything.
I agree. And I think that it's only a matter of time. I mean, we're seeing women break ground in so many places in the sports world. We were just talking about the first female pitcher for baseball. I am waiting, and I really don't think we're going to be waiting long to see the first female starter in Division One football. I think that's going to be next. And I'm just waiting for the day. I hope it's in my lifetime to see the first woman drafted into the NFL. If you can compete, you can compete. I
And
don't care
see,
what your gender
here's
is. I don't care.
something
If
that
you can
I don't
compete,
know
you can compete.
why. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. But girls softball, women's softball, college softball has been elite and popular in the United States for a long time. Why have we not broken into a pro softball league where, honestly, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but my opinion is the difference between women's basketball and men's basketball is a very different bar. Where if you're taking baseball and softball, while the sports are similar, it's more to me like rugby and football. It's two very different sports. So having women's softball, I don't think would take away from or have to directly compete with baseball, where men's basketball and women's basketball compete for the same audience and one ends up with less of a market share, just how it is. But I think softball has a different pull, has a faster pace, has the qualities that people who would fall asleep watching a baseball game would be more inclined to tune in for a women's softball game with that pace. Still, the same fundamental sport, but a lot different in its presentation.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, Fred. Again, I come back to uh, there's barriers, but barriers are meant to be broken. Whether that be in presentation or actual competitive leagues. Um, but again, not to beat a dead horse, but I do think that it's coming around the pike, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see, again, we're going to be seeing the first Division One starter, that's a woman for a Division One football team soon. Like I don't know how soon, but soon. We're going to be seeing at some point a woman get drafted in the NFL soon. But for me, if you can compete, you can compete. That's all that I care about.
And
Ray, you have
I
any
keep
input?
all I'm gonna say is, as far as like softball goes, this is what I find hilarious to me is because I watch the way they pitch. There is no way in hell I
It's
could ever touch a
violent.
ball thrown in like
No,
that. And
no,
I talk to
no.
Miles all the time because he's trying to work on his batting and he's getting better this year. He's actually doing a lot better this year than he did his first year last year. And I was like,
Go up
Miles,
against a softball pitcher.
if you want to learn how to hit, go hit off of them. And he's like, I ain't gonna do that. I was like, you want to learn how to hit? They're gonna teach you how to hit down there.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I never played, obviously, like, I never played baseball, but there was just something, and even now, just watching, there's something different. And Fred, baseball is more your bent. Watching a pitcher in a baseball format, it's it's an art. But when you see a softball pitcher pitch, not that it's not as artful, but it's just straight up aggression. It is violent. I mean, yeah, Ray, you got it right. Miles, if you want to hit, learn how to hit off a softball pitcher that knows what she's doing because she'll take him to school.
He
So
won't
here's
listen to us though. He has to listen to his coach specifically. He won't listen to anybody else unless his coach tells him. That's his motto.
So here's a couple stats, okay? Just for those who might question our thinking here.
Hold on. We got to let him finish his fresca first. We got to let the talent get his fresca in.
Take it down.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop.
Okay. So
Please.
just to throw it in perspective, what we were talking about with the comparison between softball pitching and baseball pitching. In fast pitch softball,
Ray.
you're looking at a pitching distance for 14 and up as 43 feet. So to put it in perspective,
closer too. Yeah, it's a lot closer.
Yeah, it's 43 feet. They're throwing underhand, so the release point is different. It's much easier for the ball to be hidden throughout the entire windup until the release point. Generally speaking, their hands going past their leg. So with that release point being essentially at 47 or I'm sorry, 38 feet. So
Not
depending
6'7"?
on how tall the pitcher is. So
not 6'7".
If you're looking at 38 feet, a 77 mile per hour fast pitch softball pitch is the equivalent of 100 to 110 mile per hour fastball for baseball.
Oh yeah.
Which also has, you have the release point that is very visible. You have the capability of the ball dropping rather than rising, which is much more deceiving to a hitter to see the ball fall than it is to see the ball rise. So the difficulty level just it bumps up. So I agree with Ray totally. If you want to get better at hitting, the soft toss drills, speed them up a bit, get the nearest girls softball pitcher and let her whittle away at you. Right, exactly. Because that's why to me though it's a different sport and some different rules and variations, I think the skill level required to get that Division I spot as a pitcher is incredible. And you see some hitters, I watch clips of girls going 4 for 4 against these pitchers that are throwing that equivalent to 110 mile an hour. So there's some elite skill there that I think from a presentation standpoint should be on a world stage more than just a Division I and done.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Well, guys, let's, if we can, now
No, we
pivot.
can't. We can't.
Well, we're going to, because I'm the
W-
talent. I got the Fresca. I
We
call the
be
rules.
doing it.
Uh,
Oh, my bad. Well, I got the Mountain Dew. How's that sound? It's dirty, but I got the Mountain Dew
And I got
because
a
it's
fever.
of 103.
Well, the only the only cure is more cowbell. Anyway,
All right, I'm down.
so
Anyway,
Anywho, I do want to touch on. Excuse you. I
my
do want to touch on Gesundheit. There we go. So I do want to touch on the NFL draft. Now, Ray, I know you weren't really paying attention to the NFL draft. Uh, Packers really didn't do a whole heck of a lot. They drafted a kicker. Woohoo! But that doesn't
hey,
mean
that kicker is going to be huge for us. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm
He's gonna
sure. I'm
he's gonna
sure.
be the
I'm
he's gonna be
sure.
the next Sebastian Janikowski. I doubt it. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, but sure. But it's not. Anyway, the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, it was it was a good draft. There was, from the people that were on the ground there, the NFL and the city of Pittsburgh really pulled off a really good draft. But
If
it's
they weren't on the ground, where were they?
I I can't.
If
I
Fred wasn't
can't.
muted,
I
that
can't.
would have been perfect.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
see,
Moving
everyone knew.
along.
Everyone knew.
Moving
That,
along.
that symbol
Doesn't
hit
mean
cut through the silence.
anyway, doesn't mean that draft night or draft weekend didn't have its own kind of drama. Fred, the Giants, they had their own bit of draft drama, and I would argue they maybe kind of dropped the ball on this one. You got more of the Giants bent than I do. See what I did there? Fred, not only did they their first round, yes, they got some blue chip players there in the first round, but they could have had a much better prospect there in the first round, and they said, we're going to take a safety first. How do you feel about it? Because for me, other than the first round, they really didn't do much to improve their team.
Okay, so here's where there's definitely debate. Um, the while looking at face value, I had a discussion with a buddy of mine at work that is also a Giants fan, and the first few picks, we both were saying, what is going on? Like we thought we had the upper hand, and it seemed like, a little bit of a letdown until we started looking at what not only what gaps there were, but also Harbaugh's game plan. And
I want
having
to say something about Harbaugh whenever you're done.
okay,
Because there's
yeah,
something I
yeah.
want to talk about that I was really impressed with for that.
So
Anyway, go ahead.
from my perspective, Harbaugh's game plan is not to have a star flashy big name that's going to throw, 150 yards a game and be the only piece to a puzzle. The system in New York needs to have some foundational changes, and not just from a coaching standpoint, but the backbone of the defense, the offensive line, all of them had gaps that just weren't able to push past the edge. So you can't have an elite quarterback have the time necessary to not scramble and try and avoid tackles and take a bunch of hits like he did last year, referring to Jackson Dart. You can't have that occur long term. You just can't. So you have to build up your offensive line. You have to give them more time to develop plays. And then you might not have a star name that you threw in wide receiver opposite of Neighbors, but you have an option. And with ample time, now you have playmakers. So to give those guys who are the workhorses, and this will take me to the news that I just found out about today. But the moves Harbaugh seems to be making is very much taking each piece and evaluating it almost on a, will this build the team? Will this build our potential for momentum? Will this build structure for offense and defense? And as that happens, then scoring will happen, then playmaking can happen. But without those building blocks, you end up with someone having to fill a gap for someone else always. And that's always been the case for the Giants. Is there's always been some hole, some gap, some weak side that every team has been able to take advantage of. So
And I think what they did in the first round. Now I had to double check. Their first round picks were defense and then offense. They went with Arvell Reese at linebacker. You could have made the argument they should have gone safety, but I think Arvell Reese is a very good prospect. And then they went offensive line with, I'm going to botch the name here, Francis Mayaga,
yep,
which, as you alluded to, Fred, they needed to do that not just for Jackson Dart, but also for Cam Scatterbo.
right.
Without a solid offensive line in front of him, I mean, he's a violent runner as it is, and we saw last year just how hurt that poor dude was.
Right.
There's a chance he may not be the same this year as it is with the kind of injury that he sustained. But having an offensive line that can at least get him the ability to get to the second level of the defense, give him a clean hole, is important. I would have argued personally. I think that uh, the first name Vega Oione, I forget the first name, but he was out of Penn State or Ione. I think he was the better prospect. Personally, he ended up going to Baltimore. I feel like that should have been the pick there, but they at least made two picks that will help them. That said, though, now they kind of have a different problem. They have too many linebackers, too many, and now they just traded Sexy Dexy. Now they have a hole in the middle. So now what do you do?
You can easily move a linebacker to a defensive end position. Those two are so interchangeable. It is not that hard to stock up on linebackers and just put speed on the outside. If you can beef up the inside with some bigger D tackles, you're going to be good to go.
Now
That's true,
something
but
to
at the same
keep in
time, they just got rid of Sexy Dexy, so now you're going to avoid the outside and just pound it up the middle. So
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. They can still make it work with what they have. It's just a matter of building the talent you have, putting faith into them, and letting them prove themselves. And plus, this is your first year in the system. You got to give them a chance to put in his system. It's never going to work year one. We talked about this last time with all these new teams, year one, stuff like that. You got to give them enough time to get in there. I think we actually touched on that in college football, maybe not NFL.
Yeah,
but either way, I'd say if this doesn't work by year 2 or year 3, then yes, I agree with you. It's not working. You got a problem. You need to address it and fix it. But
now,
give him a chance to get his stuff set up.
Keep in mind also the other guys that we picked up. Jack Kelly at linebacker from BYU. We got
another linebacker,
defensive lineman Bobby Jamison Travis. We got offensive line J.C. Davis. We got cornerback Colton Hood from Tennessee, and then Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. And Fields is going to be the opposite side of Neighbors, which is where the development comes in. Now,
and I was high on Fields. I honestly, like, in my mock draft, I didn't share this with you guys because I just did it on my own. I mocked Malachi Fields to the Philadelphia Eagles because I didn't think they were going to draft a wide receiver first, and we'll get to the Eagles.
right.
I'm high on Malachi Fields. I think he's going to be a good wide receiver too.
Right.
The one thing that impressed me the most with the Giants, and this is what I was going to allude to with Harbaugh here, is I'm sure you guys heard Neighbors was not happy with the Giants draft. I'm sure, Fred, you've heard about that as well. The thing that impressed me the most about Harbaugh is instead of making a public thing about it, instead of just going on record saying, this, that about him. He pulled him into his office. They both sat down and watched film together. They talked about it in office. And when Harbaugh was addressed about it afterwards, he's like, we took care of it in office. It's no longer an issue. We're looking forward to the offseason. Like, you don't see that anymore. Everything's about me. Harbaugh's like, no, bring it in. Let's do this together. Let me show you what I saw. We're on the same page now.
That is the perfect segue to what I found out today. Okay. Harbaugh came out and said, and essentially there was an interview with Caleb Downs, and the
Turned down for what?
Caleb.
Anyway, when
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
They say hi.
Okay, so Caleb Downs,
as you are, they say hi.
Caleb Downs was interviewed after the draft, right? And basically he sort of alluded to his work ethic, which the Giants had been criticized for not picking him up. They had opportunity to do it in the 5th and 10th round, and they didn't. Now, Harbaugh, when asked, he said he didn't seem to jive. I don't really have a good feeling about it. Now, this interview, basically, in my opinion, I agree with the headline where John Harbaugh is vindicated by this guy's interview. Basically, what he said was, you know, I got bored playing Division I because on games where the line was blocking everybody, and I didn't really feel like I had to do anything, so I just sort of got to lay back, and I was really bored. He said, so I'm hoping that being in the NFL, it will be an opportunity to not be so boring.
Alrighty then.
That's like interviewing for. Yeah, that's like interviewing for like a promotion, and you're saying, in my current position, I kind of know what I can do.
Exactly.
Have you ever heard of Hard Knocks? He's about to be on that next episode.
Yes. So here's the thing. Harbaugh has talked in this offseason about absolutely valuing the workhorse, the guy who's willing to put in 110%, and while they may only perform 80% of the time now, that effort is going to get them to that 90-95%. So looking at the picks,
it works 60% of the time, every time.
All the time. Yeah. So the effort that these guys are putting in, which is also, I think, why he steered clear from the pick from Penn State, because I think the teams. Now, Downs was another one where his team, they had, I think it was 15 guys from his team that have gotten drafted, which means he had a whole cushion of guys around him that may have made his stats look a little better than what they really were. And I kind of feel like Penn State had that same opportunity to have a good team that may have sort of puffed up some stats. And I think Harbaugh's foresight in being able to say, okay, what's happening behind the scenes here? Why is this guy looking so elite? And is that a positive, or could it be a negative? And I think the picks that came into play this year are the workhorse positions. It's the guys that might not be at the bar right now, but he sees they can be there. And they've been putting in the work to get there. I think Fields is obviously one that's climbing there, and I think he's got the potential to be in the same conversation as Neighbors, with capability, with physicality. I think they can do well alongside of each other. I think it's going to take time to develop that, to give Jackson Dart both options, and with a stronger line, he's going to have the time to be able to let those plays develop. Whenever Neighbors is drawing, double coverage one direction, he's going to have a viable option this time to be able to send the ball the other way. So I really think Harbaugh has done a good job. And on a side note, there is some
This side
scuttlebutt
or this side?
about the general manager and rediscussing contract, since this is his final year of his contract anyway in his current position, and possibly with the changes to his job duties, maybe
He
not
wasn't thrilled about
necessarily
that when I
being
heard.
necessarily in the picture at all. So there might be some changes there that also add to Harbaugh's capabilities this season. He already made it possible to bypass the GM in decision making, but I think the more freedom he gets with the group of guys that he has put together, I think we'll see really good development out of that.
Yeah, I
And
think that. Go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
no, and he was bringing up stuff, and it made me think of another conversation. I'm going to go back a little bit further. Last year, remember when Ursay had died and his daughters took over the team, and how you, if I remember correctly, you were completely against this and said this was going to be a train wreck.
I was.
Okay, I just got my ears blown out for a second, so I was trying to look something up, and there was a lot of music playing. Let me regather myself here. That caught me off guard. But anyway, I don't remember the running back's name because I just closed that site to
Jonathan Taylor.
get that. No, not the Colts running back who they just drafted. It was Ursay was in the draft room. They had just drafted this one running back. He was from, I believe, Oklahoma. I think Fred's looking it up. So if Fred, you're looking it up, kind of help me out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Seth something, I think his name is. Anyway, he was a 7th round pick. He's gone through a lot of injuries and a little bit of legal trouble, stuff like that. He really slid down in the draft pool. He was supposed to be a big back, flew down, and then the Colts drafted him. And then Ursay called him from the draft room, and the first thing she said to him was, "Hey, are you ready to prove everyone they're fucking wrong about you?" If that's not motivation to get you started for a team that wanted you, that's all I'm saying.
Look, I will eat crow. I thought that the Ursay girls taking over for their dad was the wrong decision. I thought it was nepotism. I thought that they were
I
not
think
they were in over their heads. They were wrong. I was wrong.
The part that bothered you, and Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, because we all know how great my memory is. Alex's biggest problem with them was the fact that they were on the sideline, headset, clipboard, analyzing every little thing.
Yes.
Now,
that was my issue because at the time I viewed it as micromanagement, and also better, so you're going to be on the field, and the coaches are going to be looking over their shoulder. But in hindsight, it was something that I would do.
It was what I told you originally. They don't know.
Gather data.
Trying to learn.
Yeah. Trying to learn, gather data, so that when it's the off season, you can sit back and say, okay, this is what I learned. This is what I know. This is what we did good at. This is where we did not do well. This is what we need. This is what we don't need. This is what we can get rid of. This is what we need to get. So I'll eat crow. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
I don't know if crow would taste good. I don't know.
Now,
if I would
side note, it was the Kentucky running back Seth McGowan.
Okay. Seth, I got the Seth part right, just not the right team. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But moving on in the draft. So again, we already discussed this was in Pittsburgh. A couple interesting Pittsburgh stories, and then we'll get to my Philadelphia Eagles. The Pittsburgh Steelers draft in the 7th round a serviceman, a Navyman, a Navy midshipman in the 7th round who grew up in Pittsburgh. was a Pittsburgh fan his whole life. That's just a feel good story. Um, Fred, I believe, just judging on, I believe you're looking that story up. That's just a feel good story. Um, Obviously, if there's somebody out there that can not only serve your country but also make it to the NFL, we've seen that before with like Pat Tillman and several others. Let's make that dream come possible. Sucks he had to wait till the seventh round, but he still got drafted and into his hometown team. That's just awesome.
I don't know if he'll actually be able to play though because of his contract he signed with the government. Because I know there was issues with the Navy quarterback who was huge a couple years ago. If you remember that story, and how he wanted to play for the draft, and the Navy was like, "No, you're not," and there was a big issue about that. So I don't know what the legal obligation is with all that stuff. I don't know if he can get out of his contract. I don't know how that works. So
it depends. A lot of it is depending on military brass. There's been so many times, not so many, but several times where the military will just waive the remainder of the contract and just let them play out their NFL career.
It is Eli Heidenreich.
Okay. Hey, before we get too far into this here, is there any way, because I think we're about to lose some viewers, we can run a ad for Uncle UFO before we, because we're about at our 1 hour mark.
Yeah, let's run transition.
An UFO ad.
Let's transition here a minute and take a short break and check out our sponsor.
Yes.
Uncle UFO's Old Grey Whiskey. Now that's a name that tickles the tongue. A stellar ale, brewed for those who dare to dream and drink. This ain't your average hooch. It's got a kick like a mule and a flavor that'll make you howl. Pour it in a glass and watch it shimmer like the night sky. Who knew whiskey could be so pretty? But hold on, does it taste as good as it looks? One sip, and I'm ready to launch into orbit. It's smooth, with a hint of mischief so you can embrace your natural instincts, like a man. So if you're looking for a drink to help you embrace the rugged and experience the impossible, Uncle UFO's got your back. Grab a bottle of Uncle UFO's Old Grey Whiskey, and let's toast to the cosmos.
Toast to the cosmos.
Thank you, Uncle UFO. If I hadn't had my wisdom removed and my wisdom taken
we knew
away,
you weren't wise. So how much more wisdom did you lose if you weren't already... Fred, you're muted. I know you're insulting him with me, and I think it's great, but we can't hear you, buddy.
We know that your wisdom was removed long before medical procedure. So,
yes, we were already well aware of that, sir.
Cheers, Ray.
Chink.
My delicate ego.
But hey, we're just quoting you, sir. Hey. You're the one that said it.
Have a little sip of your Fresca. It'll be better.
It's gone.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, great. We got to end the pod. Wait, the talent doesn't have
the world crumbles. And the world crumbles.
But anywho, so,
Ed,
yes.
I wanted to throw a comment out there from another person who is quite frequently in our streams, Aaron. He had messaged me and made a comment. The Steelers' last pick will be the next Rocky Blyer, without the injury due to war. That is what he thinks about the Steelers' last pick.
We shall see. We shall see.
See, I find it interesting. I find it inspiring. But I also find it the dichotomy of the work ethic. The work ethic. As I talked about with Harbaugh's vision for the Giants, the work ethic that goes into any serviceman or woman that gets them to the elite level in their field, I think can transfer just as easily and importantly into the world of sports. And I think those who are capable of taking it seriously and being elite in both speaks volumes to them and their capabilities, not only in the sports world, but also as our servicemen and women. So that my hat's off to him and all of our armed forces.
Absolutely. But that was indeed a feel-good story. But the Steelers couldn't feel all good on draft weekend because in the first round they thought they had their man in Makai Lemon. They thought, oh man, he fell right to us. But the Eagles, oh Howie Roseman, you devilish, devilish fool! You not only jumped the Pittsburgh Steelers, you made a trade with the hated Dallas Cowboys, and you took Makai Lemon in the first round, a wide receiver out of USC. This is not the first time that Howie Roseman has made a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to select a receiver. The last time this happened was Devontae Smith, and we all know how good Devontae Smith is. Now I'm not saying that Makai Lemon is Devontae Smith level, but he is widely considered or has been widely considered one of the best wide receivers in the draft class. Eagles get their wide receiver, and now this brings into question two things. One, and most importantly, AJ Brown. There's been rumors swirling ever since the Eagles were bumped out of the playoffs. Is AJ Brown going to continue to be an Eagle, or is he going to be traded? Guys, I love your opinions because my opinion is with this selection of Makai Lemon, AJ Brown is no longer going to be an Eagle. By June 1st or on June 2nd, he will be traded.
Here, I'm gonna do this in song for you. You ready? Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye.
Goodbye, AJ.
That's what I think is going to happen with AJ Brown. Because they traded for a Green Bay receiver. They drafted a receiver. You told me the other day when we were talking about this, they picked up another receiver in free agency. They're stocking up the position. Why would you keep AJ Brown when you just brought all of this in to surround it? It just seems like you're saying, hey, come June 1st, give us an offer. We'll fulfill all the offers for him. You're pretty much advertising it to the world without verbally coming out and saying those words.
Well,
that's how I'm taking it.
Here's something else. Here's something else that I think is interesting about what they did. Whenever you stack up in a particular position like that, one, you're making the guys who want it work for it. That's a big deal. Two, you are cornering the market and then allowing other teams to make offers to be able to fill in the gaps that you didn't get off the draft. So, if another team had the opportunity, like, I don't know, taking it back to baseball, having, let's say, the farm system of baseball in the major leagues, Pittsburgh, having their pitching staff, which is essentially the farm system for the rest of the MLB. You have an elite pitcher that you develop, you show their value, and then you say, who wants them? What can we get for them? And I think that might be the play right now, where stacking one position like that gives you leverage to be able to field offers for a team that might need that position a little bit more than you do.
I've heard so many rumors about where AJ Brown could be going. I think that AJ Brown will be shipped. Before I get into where I think AJ Brown's going to go, let's just hypothetically say somehow, some way, AJ Brown is still an Eagle. I mean, if you're another defense coming in and you're seeing this Eagles wide receiving core, let's just talk about the wide receivers currently on the roster before the 53-man cut down. As of right now, you still have AJ Brown. You have Devontae Smith. Now you drafted Makai Lemon. You picked up Hollywood Brown, Dontavian Wicks, Elijah Moore. And that's before you get to your depth pieces.
Right.
If that's who you keep on your 53-man roster for your wide receivers, holy moly. And you still have Dallas Goedert.
There's going to be some teams.
Drafted a tight end. Holy cow.
There's going to be some teams that just, whenever they look at their own secondary, they're just going to throw their cards up in the air and say, okay, we fold.
We're done. We're done. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. We're done.
They're going to throw all their chips on their kicker and their defense. But how can you when you have that many pieces, how can your defense guarantee other than solid pressure on the QB and forcing mistakes, as long as there's time for development, there is no issue or no shortage of opportunity to make plays and get yardage and keep the ball moving, much like you would in like a flag football situation.
And that's before we even talk about a tight end. They still have
Right.
Dallas Goedert for another season. They just drafted a tight end in the second round, Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. I watched some of his highlight reels. Holy cow, can the guy play? And that's before you get to your depth. You still have Saquon Barkley in your backfield. You still have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Assuming you somehow, some way keep AJ Brown, as a defense, what do you do? However, I don't see that happening. I do see the Eagles trading away AJ Brown. The prevailing winds say the Patriots, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, what about just maybe, and follow me here? Why not the Raiders? They don't really have a wide receiver. They just got a brand new quarterback. They're trying to stock up. They just got a running back last year. Why not try to, if you're the Raiders, why not try to get him? You already tried to trade away Max Crosby. Why not try and package him in a deal somehow? It's a win-win.
I just realized, Fred, you're going to love what I just realized. So he was just talking about the Eagles. You got Barkley, you got that receivers, you got the tight end, you got the offensive line, right? Does that make Jalen Hurts a system quarterback?
Who cares?
Yeah, oh, yeah, Fred.
Who cares? Who cares at this point? Who cares? Who cares? He already won a Super Bowl. Who cares? Who cares?
I believe we just heard him say Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. He is not that good. You heard it here first.
That's not what I said.
Eagles fan. You heard it here first.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was, if that's what he is.
I wish I had a little gong over here.
You heard it here first.
If he is, so what? Because he's already said he can win a Super Bowl with a roster that's even not as loaded as this one hypothetically would be. And that's
you guys were quote unquote loaded last year, and look how well that worked out for you.
Listen, okay, well, I gotta say this. We have Captain Self-Sabotage up here, okay? We have the guy who walks past a Brewers jersey and his team loses. You know what I mean? We have the guy over here that is the ever optimistic, aim for the stars and watch where the rocket's going to fall. And then you have me, the Giants fan, who's crossing his fingers, and while nobody can see, I'm crossing my fingers and peeing my pants at the same time. So it's not.
Hold on, pray for dear life.
Yeah, we all have our amazing hopes for our teams, but when reality sets in, and the truth of what pieces we have that we thought were going to be so amazing.
Who cares? Who cares?
Any given Sunday happens, and then
who cares?
The fan gets hit.
Who cares?
I have to shout out one of my favorite clips from the old school show Beavis and Butthead when they're working in the restaurant and the boss comes in after they've been throwing food into the ceiling fan.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And one of my favorite lines is, there seems to be a problem with the ceiling fan. Okay. That's the way I see the Giants.
Yeah.
The Giants might have every piece under the sun, and then all of a sudden, when you see all these pieces in play, it's like, I guess we're going to blame it on the ceiling fan because there's no other reason. Same thing with the Eagles. Last year, you guys had the pieces. You did. But something happened with the ceiling fan. Same thing with the Brewers.
I mean,
the Brewers
that ceiling fan, look.
The Brewers made such a great season. And
I
then
told you
all
we
of
were
a
gonna beat
sudden,
the Dodgers.
the ceiling
kept
fan
telling me,
happened in the
yeah.
postseason. I
I told you that was gonna happen.
I was a bigger Brewers cheerleader than Ray was last season.
You were.
No,
Postseason.
I did not.
Postseason, you were.
Now
Regular season, it was me.
I will say, I wasn't naive enough to gain a whole lot of momentum in with Green Bay, but I did win some picks on weeks that Ray did not because
It's
he was
because of the
not
curse of
confident in
Ray.
his team.
It's the curse of Ray. We've
So-
established this.
But I look at it as the ceiling fan.
All right.
You had pieces defensively, and then all of a sudden there's a problem with the ceiling fan.
Look, here's
As the pieces come in, you think they're going to fit, and we think this is the castle we're building, and the next thing you know, some freak wave comes in, or a kid's soccer ball comes in and knocks our castle over, and we're like, "What the heck just happened?"
Look, I have a name. I have a name for the Eagles ceiling fan last year, and that name was Kevin Patullo. And he is no longer in the building, so we can't use that ceiling fan for an excuse.
Of course,
Right.
and Green Bay is going to say, who was the problem there, Ray?
Matt LaFleur.
No, I didn't say LaFleur. I did at one point. I will admit, at the end of that postseason game, I did say that. I did say that. I did go on air saying, but I also, if you remember the following week, circled back and took a little bit back from LaFleur and blamed it on somebody else, if you remember correctly. Which that person is no longer in the building. And while we kept the other person I wanted gone, we drafted his replacement already too. So we'll see how this year goes.
And while every girl who plays kickball was hoping to get picked for Green Bay this year, the kicking opportunity that was, in my opinion, the ceiling fan for Green Bay. Obviously, there's hopes that will fix it, right?
In the words of Will Ferrell, we're going to skate to one song and one song only.
Holding hands, and we're going to make it look good.
Holding hands. Yeah.
Fred, I'd shot you a message. Can you make that work before we transition into baseball? I don't know if Alex has any more he wants to.
I could probably make that work, yes.
Okay. When we transition to baseball, I want to play this clip. You want to transition now? There's nothing else you got? Okay.
No, I'm good.
So there's one pitcher in baseball right now before he plays this, because I know you're not a big baseball guy, Alex. The name is Mason Miller. And Fred knows that name because he's a big baseball guy like I am. There's been a lot of talk because he's turned into one of the best closers. He's having one of the best seasons as a closer that we've seen in a long time. I think he's only given up one run this year in the whole entire month of March and April. One run as a closer. And his one run is up for debate because there's a lot of people saying he got screwed out of that with a foul call. I don't know if you saw that clip either, Fred. You did? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, what I want to show you, Alex, is whenever he got traded to the Padres, the intro they have for him whenever this man comes onto the field. And I want you to tell me if you heard this and then knew you were facing this guy as soon as he stepped on the mound, what your reaction to this would be. Because this has to be the most badass intro that I have seen a pitcher have in all of my years of watching baseball. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know how Fred feels about it, but Fred, whenever you got it ready, can you actually put the video on pod or not?
You should be able to.
Okay. If not, I will send him the link and we will show him later on. But I just thought this would be a really nice thing to show in pod if we could.
All right, here we go.
Nothing. Can you put it on presentation mode? Would that help with like seeing your computer screen? I don't know if it'll transition the sound through or not though either. Maybe. Rewind it.
Now pitching for the Padres, number 22.
All right.
Let's try this again.
Sorry about those technical difficulties there. Now we got this. Ready?
Yes.
Are you ready? Your attention, please. Now pitching for the Padres, number 22.
That gives me goosebumps, and I'm not even there.
Miller.
Well, his first introduction as a closer for the San Diego Padres.
Now,
Okay,
if that
look.
were me, I had goosebumps watching that every single time I do. If I had that coming up to me when I was in the batter's box, I'd just be like, Coach, take me out, pinch hitter. I ain't hitting off of this guy.
Okay,
See,
look. So, as a non-baseball guy, the fact that you have not only the music, but the whole presentation,
Yeah.
the stadium getting dark, the lights, and for a close, no, and if that's for a closer, nope, coach, nope.
Now,
Just
see-
call it 3 strikes. I'm out. I'm done. No, thank you.
I played in the era where there wasn't all that show.
Yeah.
You walked up to the mound, and your presence there was the show.
Yeah.
You look back at clips of when you had even Nolan Ryan walking out in the first inning of a game, not even as a closer. The
about
crowd
Rivera?
isn't even hyped yet. Randy Johnson, like
What about Rivera, the Yankees closer,
yeah,
too?
oh, absolutely. Rivera, he was a machine. But the very presence of these guys as they walk out onto a field is
No, thanks.
so crazy impressive. And
No.
to have
Send
From
me
a
back to single A.
from a
Send me down to
pitcher's
single A. I'm good.
watching that
Nope.
happen,
For a closer, no,
And-
thank you.
and
Single A. Bye-bye.
you're responsible for the next 3 batters.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You're-
No, I'm not.
It
So-
it is
responsible.
it is
I can't
one of
be
the most
trusted at the plate.
exhilarating feelings you could ever feel.
Nope.
I-
Nope. I can't be trusted at the
his-
plate. Do not. Nope.
That clip takes me
His-
back.
His stats so far for this year, okay? In his 15 appearances he is 1-0, which means that the Padres were either tied or something. He got the win for it. He is at 1.17 ERA. He has 10 saves, 10 saves and 15 innings pitched. And in those 15 innings pitched, 15 innings plus a batter. So that's, do the math here, that's what, 46 batters? He has struck out 29 of the 46 batters he has faced so far this season. His opponent batting average is a .118. He is
thank you.
not giving up hits or runs right now. He is having
No,
one
thank
of
you.
the best seasons, which brings me to my debate with you, Fred. Can a closer win the Cy Young in our day and age? And is Mason Miller going to be the one to finally do it?
Okay. Now I have some apprehension there for
Okay.
sure. Okay. So here's where I have difficulty. When you come into a ball game, right, and you are absolutely dominant for 3 batters, it's
Yeah.
impressive. It is. But for the guy who went 5 innings
And kept it in the game for you guys. Yeah.
and kept it to a no-hitter at
Yeah.
the point where he exited, or the I have to have a lot more weight in innings pitched. Now, yes, if your innings pitched has you as comparable to a starter, then yes, throw him in the mix for a Cy Young. Like throw him in there. But if his innings pitched don't require him to do more than what most starters do in their first inning of pitching, then is it really that incredible?
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I look at it as it wasn't so much Mariano Rivera's dominance in the short term, but in the long term and the entire career that made him the force that he was. So you knew that when Rivera came out on the field, pretty much the game was over. You could start cleaning up your seats. You could start, of course you're going to watch them finish, but there was that closure to the game when Rivera came in to give you that save or to solidify your win. I think the same thing is there for any closer, or the opportunity is there for any closer. But I think the longevity puts you in the conversation with the starters who are also performing equally if you put them 1 inning per 1 inning for the beginning of their performance for the night.
Yeah.
Is it just as comparable? You take, a Paul Skeens or a Mitch Keller, or even you have Cam Schlittler for the Yankees. These guys are elite, and if you limit them to 1 inning, or you limit them to 2 innings, their numbers are pretty comparable.
Yeah.
So I think for the Cy Young, it could be that he becomes that elite throughout the entire season, that it's unquestionable. Nobody can hit this guy. Then yes, I think he should be in that conversation.
So you're saying for sure he's going to be a finalist, but whether he wins it or not is another story.
I think he should be in the conversation as long as what he's doing holds out, and he shows longevity and capability in that role of being that dominant. Yeah. So like you take somebody like Paul Skeens, and in the beginning of the season and with just pitching 5 innings, he looked incredibly dominant. Now, yes, he's still incredibly dominant, but this season we're seeing a little bit different, where Paul Skeens is getting a hit a lot more than what he was last season.
Yeah.
So is it a fluke? Is it that there really is that much dominance with Miller that he's going to be, the top of the top? I hope so, because I love seeing elite pitching. That's something that I don't care what team it is. When you see pitchers who are that dominant in a hitter's game, and very much this season we're seeing it's a hitter's game. If you look back at the matchup between the Angels and the Yankees.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
It was a Judge Trout slugfest. I remember that. Yes.
Not just Judge and Trout. It was home run derby.
Yeah.
I mean, that series was incredible. And then you fast forward to the Yankees against Houston. And again, you have Chisholm, you have Rice, you have Judge. They're all just hitting the ball all over the place. And these are against some of the elite pitchers in baseball. So
now, what I love about what you're saying right now is something that I think is astonishing, because the past 2 years, like I'll admit that I haven't been huge into baseball as I have been the past 2 years. I think you and I can both admit, like the past 2 years,
Right.
I've started to get more back into it. What you had just said is a lot of baseball now for sure, except for Milwaukee. Pat Murphy has brought the old school, we're going to play small ball baseball into Milwaukee, and the Brewers are winning without hitting home runs. Up until today's game that's played this afternoon, the Brewers have had a total of 2 home runs in their past 8 games. And yet they're 16-14. Granted, I think they're 4th in their division, but also their division is probably going to be the 4th division ever in MLB history to have every single team above 500 going into May, which is another feat in its own right now with how all of those teams are playing. But it's Milwaukee's playing small ball. They're not hitting home runs. They're not doing a lot. It's bunt, bunt, bunt. And I think I sent you the clip. There was one clip where Milwaukee got a guy on base, bunt, next batter, bunt, next batter, bunt. You don't see bunts 3 times in a row in baseball, let alone once much anymore. And Milwaukee is executing it perfectly.
That to me is what made baseball fun.
Yes.
Every team's approach requires adaptability from the other team to change their approach.
Yeah.
And we talked about this with football. The team that is adaptable is the team that will be dominant. And to see the Brewers do what they're doing and getting similar results to what the Yankees are doing or the Dodgers are doing, to where they're able to put up wins, but in very different ways. But I think it's much easier to fall into a slump when you are trying to hit it over the wall and nobody touch it.
Yeah.
Than to play the small ball sandlot style ball.
Oh yeah.
That keeps every guy on their toes. Yeah. That those same guys who bunted last inning are the same guys that can hit it to the gap and hit the wall the very next inning, and you have no idea of knowing what they're going to do. The other thing that makes that so adaptable is we used to do drills specifically for this. We would have to run laps if we hit it to a field that the coach didn't call out at the beginning of that at bat. So we had to wait for a pitch that we could take that way and then do it that way. And it was fun whenever we had games like that. We started off doing that in practice, but then whenever there was a game, we got to implement our inside game. Before we walked up to bat, he would tell us where he wanted the ball to go. So
when you got that sign, you were like, all right, oh boy, here we go.
So it made you wait for your pitch. It made you watch for the ball that you knew you could hit into that gap in right field, or you knew you could get just over second base, or you knew you could drop down the line as a bunt and advance that runner. So when you're looking at that small ball, you can overcome exceptional pitching if you're not trying to find that ball you can crush over the wall.
Exactly,
but you're putting the ball where it needs to go based on where they pitched it. And then all you're doing is figuring out where they're pitching it. Now, some guys are still going to be dominant enough that you're not going to know where the hell that ball is going to go.
Right.
But
without a doubt, yeah.
But when you have hitters who aren't trying to work for themselves, that are trying to take the ball where it needs to go, that opens up a whole world of opportunities, and it makes baseball fun. I guarantee being in the stands at a Brewers game right now is crazy exciting, because you're watching that ball drop in, and then the very next hit, you're watching a bunt that you were not expecting, and neither was the other team. And then you're watching players advance around the bases, and that's where the excitement is. You got people who say, oh, baseball is boring, or I can't stand to sit and watch a baseball game. I'd rather just watch the highlights and, follow my team that way, because I can't stand the 45 minutes of downtime. Well, in a game like that, it keeps you on your toes. And when a
Yeah.
team's capable of doing that, I guarantee the Brewers fan base is loving every minute of it. And you could attest to that.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed the comments that Aaron's been making here. He said Nolan Ryan was one of the best pitchers, and he got hit a lot. Nolan Ryan was hands down one of the best pitchers. I'm not even going to argue that. Yeah. He also said MLB batting average are not as good as the old school baseball players were. And look at the old school pitchers. So I think as far as batters go, I think one hitter we can all agree on was one of the best hitters all the time. I think Nolan Ryan even made a comment that he hated facing this batter with a passion. Tony Gwynn.
Yes, 100%.
This guy could put the ball where he needed to at any point in time. I think he, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I'm trying to remember. I think he had walked more than he struck out in his career. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's a stat that I'd seen before where Tony Gwynn was that good of a baseball player.
It was almost to the equivalency of Barry Bonds for very different reasons.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. It was almost, if you want to quote a Moneyball reference, can he get on base? That was Tony Gwynn. He got on base.
Yeah. I totally agree.
And I wasn't trying to transition into Milwaukee. It was just the whole segment of like power hitters versus small ball. It's like, it's so much variety that we have going on right now. You don't know what to expect from any team any given day.
Right. 100%. And I got to also allude to something else Aaron said. The size of the ballparks are shrinking, and the bang for your buck, if you got a postage stamp size lot, how can you maximize how many seats you can get in there? Add 4 more rows and make the field smaller. And then you think that, okay, 4 or 5 more home runs a week is going to bring more excitement, when to me, as watching the old school baseball, I look at it as a home run shouldn't be every guy in the league is able to do 45, 50 home runs. That to me seems ludicrous. It takes away the value of a home run. Where when you had guys who, without steroids, were never able to hit 60 home runs. You get what I'm saying? Like that it wasn't.
So you're not including the McGuire era. You're not including Sosa. You're not including Bonds. You're saying even pre them.
Oh, absolutely pre them.
Okay.
Because when even in the early juicing stages, when Canseco walked up to the plate, he was a powerhouse, but he still wasn't hitting 60 home runs a season. And then you have guys like Cal Riley. You have guys that are not anywhere. Cal Riley's half of the size of what McGuire was, or Sosa. And they're hitting home runs like powerhouses. And you gotta look at the fact that it's very different circumstances that they're racking up these home run numbers.
Oh yeah.
The situation is very different. So to compare like stats between Babe Ruth and Aaron Judge, hands down, even as a Yankees fan, Aaron Judge does not hold a candle to Babe Ruth. I'm sorry. You can talk about elite players in different eras, but it doesn't transfer. It's like saying I'm a great poker player, but I'll never kill you in playing pinochle.
Just let me light a cigar as I walk up to the plate. Watch me launch this sucker 500 feet over the fence. Just take my slow little jog around base and then shoot a shot of whiskey once I get back into the dugout. That was Babe Ruth.
After nursing the hangover, and eating 2 steaks before the game, and then arriving late.
See, he would have loved old school baseball, watching Babe Ruth walk up to the plate.
These guys created their own version of a tailgate party in the locker room.
In the dugout, not even the locker room.
Sometimes at the local bar right around the corner from the field before being expected to perform. And then all of a sudden they're out there and performing, putting up these stats that are insane.
Here, Arita, let me
current elite athletes with all the technology in the world to help them hone their craft, and they're barely scratching the surface to be in the same conversation as some of these other elites.
Let me paint you a picture here, Arita, okay? Picture
Paint me a picture. I have one in my head.
You're going to a guys rec slow pitch softball league, okay? You have your guys with their coolers, their beer in there. Yep. They're having a couple beers while they're in the dugout. You see their guys like lighting cigarettes, putting a chew in, have a cigar or two. Walk on the plate, hit it.
With one or two of the fans,
Now picture that in an MLB baseball game. And that's the way it was back then.
Here's how I envision it. And I'm just impersonating a New York player because that's just the vibe I got at this moment. Smoking a cigar, having a drink. Hey, Marty, you see that piece of tail there in section C? Yeah, I'm going to hit it right at it. And then just bang.
100%. I am a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that when Babe Ruth pointed,
he was pointing at a piece of tail.
He had said to someone else, bet I won't do this. And they're like, no, you won't. And like one of those Impractical Jokers moment where it's like they get amped up. They're drinking before the game, and they're like, there's no way he's going to do this. And then all of a sudden,
everybody
does it.
Or everybody thought he was pointing to say, hey, I'm going to hit it out of the park. But really, he was trying to point and aim at a light. He was like, I'm going to hit it right at that light. And he missed. Right. And everybody thought that he was awesome because he hit it out of the park. No. I said I was going to hit the light and I missed.
Like, darn it. And honestly,
dang it.
You go back, and obviously we can't talk to Babe Ruth now, but you listen to like John Cena and his story of where this came from. He was dared to do that, and then it became his entire persona. It was his buddy who dared him to do it, saying, "You won't do that on the world stage." And he's like, "Bet." Yeah. And that was the end of it. And now you have kids of all ages. They may not even be able to name two wrestlers, but if you do this, they know exactly what you're talking about.
If you ain't down with that, I got two words for you. Nobody got that reference. I'm disappointed in all of you.
I did. I was letting it fester a minute. No. I was letting it fester. No. But yeah, you look at what the guys put their bodies through. Even let's talk, instead of just baseball in this realm, let's talk football. The things that those men did off the field and then were expected to walk back on the field the very next week or after, a hangover or partying or whatever it was that they were doing, and then to step on the field and throw their little leather cap on and slam into each other and do amazing things on a football field.
Right.
You can't.
That's why I say
discussion. So
that's why I say there will be no two better football players in the history of the NFL, and there's only two. One of them, Deacon Jones, and the other, Chuck Bednarik. No greater.
I gotta argue, Lawrence Taylor. He's got to be in the conversation. He's got to be. Got to be.
He's not better than the Deacon.
See, looking at those eras when the sport was different, it just fundamentally was.
Different sport.
And the same thing with baseball. The sport was different. Basketball, the guys who want to put, or the current generation who tries to say that LeBron James is in the same conversation or better or whatever than any
No.
list of other players, let alone Michael Jordan, it was a
Yeah.
different game then. It's not even the same ballpark. So when you take some of the elite players that we have now doing what they're doing, even something as simple as how they clock a fastball is different than what it was when Nolan Ryan was throwing over 100 mile an hour. In today's standards, he'd be throwing 106, 107 miles an hour, which the fastest clocked fastball was 102.7, which happened this season. 102.7 rounded up to 103, and he did it, what, 3 times? The level of play, yes, they're good and elite for where we are now, but you take it back to those good old days, if you put them apples to apples, there's no conversation. Those elites back then will
I agree.
be elites. And you can pick whoever you want to from that era of football, and you have a completely different conversation than the class of even the draft class from this year. So I think there's some exciting prospects to kind of segue into what I've been looking at this season for baseball is we discussed last season about Pittsburgh being the farm system for the MLB, and seeing the pitching staff that they developed. Yes, now they have some bullpen rotation. They have some depth there, but they're starting to win some games. And though it's not that promising yet, I think them taking the strides in what they've been doing over the last few years, if their mindset changed and they actually listened to their fans and ownership decided, you know what, maybe we do need to, kind of step it up a little bit and stop being a farm team. There's one guy that everyone's talking about, which is Seth Hernandez, which is I think going to be a great addition to what is already an elite pitching staff with Pittsburgh. Now, how long he will end up staying in Pittsburgh, it's kind of a toss-up. Same thing with Skeens. But if they can continue to develop and keep a few guys, it should be pretty exciting. The other thing I've noticed, and it's hard not to, is the drop off, like the cliff that they stepped off of when we're discussing the Mets and the Phillies.
Biggest payrolls, worst records.
I have to say, I'm not one to necessarily rub someone's nose in it, but when you have someone like Soto, who, for the entire purpose of trying to be the name on the team that was being built, and now he's on a team with a pretty rough start.
Yeah.
And if they continue on this path, it's going to be rough to bounce back from.
Without a doubt.
And obviously, the Phillies were very much in the playoff conversation last year, and with not all that many changes, they're struggling this year again.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see some rises and falls in the standings as players develop. As obviously we're still early in the season, but the two takeaways I've gotten so far is there's some amazing pitching this year,
Oh yeah.
and the hitters that were elite last year are absolutely showing their colors and hitting the ground running this year more so than they have in the past. And
Yeah.
that's exciting to me too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Now, I'm going to transition a little bit. We're going to focus on our teams for a minute. I'm going to talk about you and your Yankees first. I'm going to let you take the lead here for this.
Okay.
I figured since this is your team, I'll let you have what you want to say about them. I'll let you say what you want to say, what not you want to say. Right now, they're 20-11. I believe, they're the number one team in the AL. They have they're a game and a half against the Rays, but then easily 5 to 8 games ahead of everybody else in the division. You look at stats, and the most alarming stat to me that I want to see if you want to touch base on is I was looking at their batting stats. Rice, in my opinion, is your best hitter right now.
Yes.
Batting average, RBIs, runs, OBP, slugger, OPS, hits, doubles. Like, Rice is your guy. And another thing that I saw that jumped out to me is Judge is leading your team in at-bats, strikeouts, and home runs. Like, how are you feeling about your Yankees, the batting? Maybe even touch on some of the pitchers you don't like right now. What's your take on the Yankees heading into May at the start of the season?
Okay, so here's something that I think is sort of a thorn in our side, and unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to see a solution to it at this point. But yes, Ben Rice has been hitting the ground running, and I think he's being underutilized. The fact that against left-handed pitching, his stats are through the roof. His on-base percentage is nuts.
Yeah.
But yet, Boone chose to start Goldschmidt over Rice.
Is it just because of the name?
I don't know.
Okay.
And the difficulty I'm seeing is if Boone is carrying more weight in Goldschmidt than he's carrying in Ben Rice, but Ben Rice is producing. I have to look back at my experience playing ball. You have some coaches that have their guy.
Yeah.
And they're willing to overlook some shortcomings because they have faith in their guy, right? So I'm hoping that this isn't some foreshadowing of Boone saying, well, I know Ben Rice is producing, but Goldschmidt's my guy.
Now, I don't watch the Yankees as much, so this is a question just because I see a lot of Brewers players doing this a lot. Like, we have players that can play multiple positions. We can throw them in the outfield. We can throw them in the infield. Our roster, I'd say about 75% of our roster starting right now is plug-and-play players where we need them to play. Is Rice not one of them players? Are the Yankees primarily like, okay, we got you in for this position. That's all you're playing? Like, tell me where you're at with that. Can you not move Rice to another position?
I got to say that Rice should be the starter. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Rice has been the productive guy.
I guess what I'm trying to say is you have your guy. Why can't you have your guy and still have the producer in at the same time? Like, why do they have to be right where they're at? I guess is the question.
Well, I guess in my opinion, the one that is our guy is only our guy as more of a franchise first baseman.
Gotcha.
More so than the actually putting up what's necessary. Now let me say this. Goldschmidt is not a bad player. His OPS,
obviously he has a name for a reason.
Is still what 732. Like he's still his slugging percentage is still 429. His OBP, it's a little lower than Rice, but it's still 303.
Yeah.
Now his batting average, a 179.
So
I mean,
he's looking at the count. He's getting his walks. He's getting on base, but he's just not making contact with the ball when it comes time to actually square up and hit the ball.
well, that and you look at the one comparison I see is he's got Ben Rice in 98 at bats, has 23 RBIs. So basically 24% of the time he's getting a run in.
Yeah.
You look at Goldschmidt, and in 28 games, he's only got 4. Or 28 at bats, he's only got 4.
Yeah.
So he's what, 1/7? So if you're looking at points on the board, Ben Rice by far is your guy. And
Right.
and that's something that I think management has to work out. And the utilization. Like, I get the righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty stuff, and all that, but I think that the confidence in the stats is not necessarily a is not necessarily reflected in what they're doing right now. I think Boone is more of a lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty guy than he is a all that be damned. Rice is producing, lefty righty doesn't matter. He gets on base and he gets runs in. That I look back at one of the best baseball movies of all time, and when the discussion was, what do all these guys have in common? They get on base.
Yes.
Do I care? Do I care if it's a hit or a walk? I do not. Do I need to point at Pete again? I can't help but think that there's definitely some bugs to work out, but with Rice where he is, and then the hitters that we have right now, Chisholm's starting to open up. The exciting part about Stanton is it's the beginning of the season, so he's healthy.
Yeah.
How long will that last?
Right.
Who knows? But he's producing. So if that's the case, then I can't argue against it.
And Aaron made a very interesting prediction that I want to hear what your take on this is. Yankees will make a trade close to midseason with the Angels. He thinks that was a job interview for Mike Trout the other weekend.
I would say the exact opposite, because you think of the same year, okay? The same year that Trout was drafted by the Angels, the Yankees had the opportunity to grab him, and who did they choose instead? Aaron might know this.
I don't know. Go ahead and
I'm gonna butcher his last name, but Texaria.
Okay, yeah.
And he played. Yes, he was a decent addition to the Yankees, but no Mike Trout. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And to have Mike Trout come back to his hometown, because Mike Trout was a New Yorker, to have him come back to his hometown and show the world a big, here's what I could have done for you. I don't see it necessarily as a job interview. I look at it more as a, look what I can do, and I'm going to do it for the Angels. Since you didn't want me, guess what? You still can't have me.
But at the same time, look what a lot of players. Granted, maybe Trout's not like this, but look what a lot of players are doing nowadays. I've been with this organization. You're not bringing me anybody in to help me. You're not doing a whole lot. Even Shohei didn't stay with the Angels, and he's been there. He was there way less than Trout was. How
I mean,
long? How if you're Mike Trout, how long do you take loyalty over when do I finally get a chance to go after my ring?
yeah, but okay.
I guess that's where
he
I'm
can
at.
get a ring. If he wants a ring, guess what? Let the Dodgers grab you, and within 2 years, the Dodgers will buy another championship. It's just going to happen. But
As much as I hate to say it, yeah, that's where.
that's where we're at. But
Yeah,
I also get that just about every elite player has had some stint in their career where they put on pinstripes.
yeah,
You know, you got Clemens, you got even back in the day, you had Darryl Strawberry. Like you have guys that are great for the teams that they played for,
yeah,
and then hop over to the Yankees, still produce, but don't get a championship out of it.
yeah,
And is it necessarily that Trout has to go to the Yankees to get a championship, or is this going to be the year that he not only rubs it in early in the season, shows the fact that he can go neck and neck with Aaron Judge, and he should
right,
be part of the conversation, and also to be able to kind of tip his hat to the fact that, yeah, it may not have been a curse of the Bambino situation, but at the same time, they gave him up.
yeah,
So to say to them, hey, I'm here, I'm still part of the conversation, and don't forget me, as he goes neck and neck with Aaron Judge and then continues ever since that night or those that series continues to dominate. So
yeah,
I think it's not necessarily a job interview. I think there's more. It's more likely and more probable that it was sticking it to him and making himself part of the conversation again for whoever may
yeah,
want him in the future or whatever.
yeah,
But I do find that interesting, the job interview part.
yeah. I mean, anything's possible. The Yankees could even take it as we're missing a piece. Maybe we just bring in that one more bat, and that just takes us over the hump. Because you guys almost had it, but the Dodgers, buying the World Series, they're the ones that beat you for it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but then again, okay, if we were to grab Trout, would that be a net positive for the team? 100%. And what position does Trout play?
Hey, he's an outfielder, yeah.
Right. So who are you taking out to put him in? You got maybe Grisham.
Yeah.
Bellinger's hitting well, and you obviously are not going to replace Judge.
Right.
So where do you put him? Now you could move Judge to DH and then put him in right field, and obviously
you could do that with Trout too. Yeah,
he's going to produce.
Yeah.
But then you're banking on Stanton not having the great year he generally does, even though he does have, health issues and things like that. I still think he's not a bad option.
Right.
So I think you could build you could build a dream team like we saw in the
Like the
World
Eagles did,
Baseball
right?
Classic. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
Exactly
the
like
Eagles did, right?
It
Dream
just
team, yeah. And then Alex isn't here to, listen to us crack on his team. But anyway, um, is there anything else you wanted to maybe talk about the Yankees? Like, is there anything like you want to see coming up? Anything you predict coming up?
I still think that as far as pitchers are concerned, we still need some middle relievers. I really think that's something that we tend to always lack.
Mm-hmm.
And while we do have, some great starters, I think the middle reliever or, long reliever is not in the bag.
Yeah.
Freed has definitely shown himself to be more than capable. Bednar, definitely a great option as a closer. Weathers, Schlittler, yeah, you got Blackburn as well, but their ERAs are up over 3. So while yes, you have some good names, they're not necessarily all capable of, like, for instance, the Pittsburgh pitching staff, where they're capable of running the majority of a series as the keeping the other team to almost no runs.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna have to step away just for a second.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Right.
I think Alex might have fell asleep on us too. So, DH outfield rotation, save injuries. Like, I mean, anything's possible. You could look at that way, but I guess Fred being the Yankees guy, he would probably know better than any of us. It probably is just like he said, Trout's just sticking it to him and doing it that way. Now I'm going to transition while he's disappeared over to my Brewers here, talk about them a little bit, and then I'm sure he'll have questions when he comes back. Right now, the Brewers being in the NL Central has to be one. It is hands down the toughest division in baseball right now. Every single team is at 500 or over. The division, depending on what the Pirates do tomorrow, which, come on, Pittsburgh, we need you to pull this off. This year, the NL Central will be the 4th division ever to have every team over 500 in May. Right now, the Pirates are at 500. They need to win tomorrow for that to happen. If they don't win, then they're back under 500. So we're rooting for the Pirates tomorrow. Get it done, because we're in a beast of division right now. What's making us all look good? Let's be honest. You have the Reds at 20 and 11, the Cubs at 19 and 12, the Cardinals at 18 and 13, Brewers at 16 and 14, and then the Pirates at 16 and 16. It is just lights out baseball right now in the NL Central. And then focusing on the Brewers here a little bit more, it's a lot of, like I mentioned with Fred earlier, small ball baseball. They don't have the home run hitters that all these other teams seem to be having right now. Like, our leading home run guy is our backup catcher and backup first baseman. Like, it's Gary Sanchez is leading the team with 5 home runs on the year. 5. Bryce Terang, 5. And he's one of our main starters, but he's not a home run hitter. That should tell you about where the state of Milwaukee and power hitting is. It's non-existent. In the past, up until today, the past 8 games Milwaukee has played, they've hit 2 home runs in 8 games. And just this series alone, Sal Frelick, our number 7 hitter in the outfield, finally broke it open for us, hitting 2 home runs in this series, and then William Contreras finally cracked one today as well. And I'd mentioned earlier in the pod, he had a great day today, 1 hit away from the cycle, 4 for 4 with a home run, a double, a single, and a walk. He was just that one hit away from getting the cycle. And as far as like he was talking about pitching and everything right here, Brewers pitching right now, which it seems to be the curse of Ray, as we joke around in our podcast. I had predicted our starters were going to struggle, and I was so looking forward to the relievers we had. The way they handled it last year, I was excited to see them this year. And going into this season, the starters we have are doing excellent. It's been great with the youth we have at pitching, and as good as they're doing, I'm thrilled about what I've seen. But the relievers we have are missing. They're struggling. It's a lot of inconsistency. The closer we had last year, McGill, hasn't been able to find his feet yet this year. He's been taking out of the closer position. And then we put in another guy who has just now been put on IR that I see today. And one of our veteran pitchers, Brandon Woodruff, he got taken out in the second inning today, and he's awaiting MRI results because his fastball was being clocked at 79 miles an hour today, which is not normal for him, let alone normal for MLB standards at all anymore. So hopefully nothing serious with him. We don't lose him long term because he was having a great season up until that point today. We got Mizorowski, who is the youngest and one of the hardest throwers in the MLB right now. He is starting off electric. He doesn't have the wins, but if you look at his numbers, he's playing great baseball right now. I think our best reliever at this point would probably be Abner Uribe, and he was a mid reliever last year. He could probably be our closer the way he's going right now. He's pitching some great baseball when we need him to be. He's doing the job he needs to do. And there's not, other than that, like I don't have a whole lot of faith in a lot of our relievers right now. It's one of those where I'm hoping our starters can go far, but Pat Murphy and his routines, he doesn't like his pitchers going to 100 pitches, or he doesn't like them going past the 7th. So it's a lot of, we have to rely on our relievers to close these games, and they're so inconsistent. Milwaukee with their relievers right now. It's I don't know if you caught what I was saying, Fred. It's the curse of Ray, where I thought our starters were going to struggle and our relievers would shine. Opposite of how it's been just for Milwaukee this year. Starters doing great, and relievers are just, what is happening right now? You're on mute too, by the way.
That absolutely seems to be the curse almost, because
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have the difficulty of how the game starts.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're working with pitchers, and it's a very different game now.
Yeah.
Where I just saw a clip the other day about watching when I forget which Yankees pitcher it was, but back in the day, he yelled at the manager as he was about to come out of the dugout to bring in a relief pitcher, and he screams over at the dugout, "No, I'm staying in. You go back in there." Like there was no.
I think I remember saying that. I don't remember who it was, but I think I remember saying that. Yeah,
there was no debate. It was, I'm staying. I'm finishing this game, and he finished out the inning. They won. Great, but he wasn't having the I'm going out because of X amount of pitches, and he wasn't doing the 5-inning cap thing.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about, Aaron brought up earlier tonight about Greg Maddux.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at that era of Braves pitchers, they were putting up crazy high pitching numbers.
Oh,
Nolan
yeah.
Ryan, crazy high pitching numbers. You have any of the guys that were throwing no hitters, perfect games that were going a full 9 innings.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're training high school, college to where you're capped. There's not going to be the opportunity for a perfect game. The
Mhm.
rare occasion whenever you're at inning 5 and you have a no hitter, is it really going to be that the coach says, "All right, I know you're trying for the no hitter. We'll let you go another inning," when
Yeah.
you've been training to be a 5-inning pitcher.
Now,
So
another thing that
what are you going to
Milwaukee
do in the 6th and 7th?
Another thing I've seen Milwaukee do this season, and it drives me nuts. I want to see if it drives you just as crazy as it does me. They will bring in a reliever to start the game and then put the starter in the 3rd inning. I don't
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
It drives me nuts. Maybe you have some insight on that I don't, but I do not like when they do that.
Well, obviously, early in the season, what they're trying to do is
Milwaukee is injury plagued again to start the year like crazy. Another thing, I don't know if you heard any of my segment that I was talking about with the Brewers whenever you had stepped away there.
A little bit, yeah.
Right now, Brandon Woodruff is our veteran pitcher, you would say right now. He was supposed to start today. He's been having a great season so far. He threw his fastball at a top speed of 83 miles an hour today, and in the 2nd inning, it dropped down to 75 miles an hour, and he got pulled and is now waiting MRIs because they think something's wrong with Brandon Woodruff. So we might have just lost, yet again, another pitcher to injury. So we've lost Quentin Priester. Woodruff's out now. We just lost a closer to another injury because of arm tightness. It's literally just bring up the farm team pitchers, and we're just going to hope for the best with what we can produce with them right now.
Right. And see, going back to your question about the starters being put as relievers, the only thinking behind that is positive would be if your relievers are not capable of going the 4 or 5 innings you need them to. So if they're trying to negotiate and see which one of their relievers could take on a starting position, get those 1 or 2 innings in the beginning, and then let the guys who they know can go a little bit more of a distance pitch in the middle of the game. The other thing too is, generally speaking, you're going to end up with the less pitches thrown in the very beginning of a game when batters are somewhat a little bit eager to start the game off. They're not necessarily in a point where this is clutch and I have to get a hit, and so I'm going to wait it out and let the pitcher wear out their pitches. First inning, they're not so much worried about that. So throwing a reliever that is a short play reliever as a starter gives them less pitches that they have to throw, and also gives them the ability to be possibly a bit more effective. And then let the starting pitcher, who you can trust, then carry through the point in the game where now there's some strategy. Now there might be a run or two on the board, and you're trying to milk a pitcher. You're trying to get a few more pitches thrown that might throw them off or tire them out. So, but like you said, with the injuries, it might just be as simple as we need to figure out who's capable of replacing some of these starters before we start trading for them. Because once we start trading for them, we're going to lose some people that we feel are key.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, yeah. Now, switching from pitching to hitting here, this is one of the more fascinating things to me in baseball, which we touched on it briefly already. And this series that the Brewers just played with the Arizona Diamondbacks is a tale of the Brewers and the MLB. And what I mean by that is the Brewers, in Game 1 against the D-backs, won their game 13-2 with a grand total of 0 home runs.
Yes.
In Game 2, Here's where I say the tale of the MLB versus the Brewers. In game 2, the Brewers lost to the D-backs 2-6. The D-backs, all 6 of their runs, home runs.
Right.
So it's literally the Brewers are winning games without the long ball while everybody else is adapted to, we're just going to get power and hit the crap out of the ball. Pat Murphy, who has won in 2 seasons back-to-back Coach of the Year for the NL, seems to be working some kind of magic in Milwaukee where, like you had touched on, we're going to adapt, we're going to take what we have, and we're going to win with it and make it work. And he has enough of those guys where it's like, you're small payroll guys. Nobody obviously had faith in you. Let's go out and prove them wrong. We're going to play scrappy baseball, and we're going to win these games.
I got to say that when you don't have the home run hitter lineup, like a Yankees lineup, or like a Seattle lineup, when you don't have the long ball players that okay, what is this batter number 4 or number 5? Yep, home run. Yep, home run. Like, to me, the Brewers have a little bit of an advantage because home run ball, it almost creates a gap in the game.
Because you know when it's coming. You know when that guy's up, you know it's coming.
And then the momentum changes. Yes, you hit a home run, but now there's nobody on base.
Right.
The fielders can be a little bit more lackadaisical. The offense is now, okay, it's 1v1 again.
Yeah.
It's just pitcher versus batter again.
And
where when you're playing the short ball, and you have guys on base all the time.
Yeah.
So when you constantly have multiple plays, multiple threats, it creates that depth to a game.
Yeah.
That the Brewers obviously are utilizing.
Now, I'm going to give you a couple stats here that I want to see, that I find fascinating. I don't want to say want to see, but I find them fascinating. While the Brewers are bottom 5 in the MLB in home runs hit, they are number 2 in the league in runs scored with 2 outs left in the inning. They are top 3 in stolen bases. They have one of the best on-base percentages. It's literally, they have taken small ball to a level that no other team is really playing against right now or experiencing, because no other team is executing getting on base like the Brewers have been the past couple seasons.
And like I always seem to allude to,
can he get on base?
Can he get on base? Doesn't matter anything else.
Yeah.
And the Brewers seem to be embracing that. They don't care about the long ball. It's irrelevant to them. Whether they can or can't do it is not even in the conversation. Yeah. Yes, some of those guys are going to end up hitting home runs. They are going to end up having some guy on the team that ends up being their long ball guy.
What I think is hilarious as a Brewers fan is when I see a guy walk up and he's like, oh man, here's one of our home run hitters. You put him on any other roster, they're like, who the hell is this guy? He's not a home run hitter by any means. Yeah. But they make it work, which is what I love about this roster. And one of my favorite players, and it's probably just because I played this position, is Contreras, our catcher.
Right.
As far as the new ABS system, even going into that, he has been spot on with that this year. Brewers have been nailing challenges, and a Pat Murphy rule, which I heard the Yankees have their own rule that they're implementing. It's a little different than what Pat Murphy's rule is, but Pat Murphy's rule is believe it or not, the pitcher is not allowed to challenge. Only the catcher is allowed to challenge, is what Pat Murphy has said. He won't let the pitcher call the challenge. He wants the catcher behind the plate making all the challenges.
Now, see, that's interesting.
And believe it or not, Contreras has been killing it as far as being the one.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And I heard a report about the Yankees. I want to see if you can confirm or deny this. The report is that Boone is implementing something to where if you challenge, you better be pretty damn close with that, because if you're far off on it, he's going to start dinging you for it.
Which might very well be,
Yeah.
because there have been some crazy challenges that I've seen
Yeah.
that honestly just seem to be time wasters.
Yeah.
There's been some challenges that the umpires, their reactions are, wow, I really missed that one.
Right.
Like where before this challenge opportunity, the umpires were not humbled by that.
I think the players and the have been humbled by this. Both. Right, I don't think it's 100%. Just one way or the other. I think it's 100%. Both of them. Yeah. Because you have those batters, which I allude to uh-oh. Did I?
You still there? I can hear you. There we go.
Okay, was that me or was that you? I think it might have been me.
I think you glitched out there.
Okay. But I allude to, I think I do this all the time, an interview that Jazz from your team had an opening day against the Giants. He said that I like the ABS because it's interesting to see that when we always thought these umpires got it wrong, how often we're the ones that actually have it wrong whenever we challenge this.
Right.
And it's actually I think it's, as much as I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, I don't know if I'm going to like it, I'm actually enjoying watching it happen, because it actually makes it to where it's like, okay, we're getting the call right. And it's not even taking up that much of the game. You stand up, the batter's challenges. Let's look on the monitor. Oh, he was right. Okay, we're back at it. And he throws a pitch within the next 2 seconds. It's literally as quick as that. So it's not like it's holding up a whole lot of time either. So.
Yeah. And I think the technology makes it interesting. I do think the strike zone has gotten bigger, though. I will say that, because the challenges that would have been there before, where umpires oftentimes were calling a ball when that ball just barely grazed the corner, and as a pitcher, I experienced that a lot, where I was an accuracy guy. So hitting corners was the name of my game.
And one argument that I've had with
having to feel out an umpire in the first 1 or 2 innings to feel out where their strike zone was so that I could hit every corner was part of the chess game.
Yeah. And one of the arguments I've had with my dad, I want to see what your take on this with you being a pitcher, where I'm starting to come around to the ABS. He still doesn't like it for the reason of home plate. You look at it, it is in this kind of shape right here.
Yes.
Whereas your ABS is wall. You have one spot, that's it. He doesn't like the fact that it can still cross the plate, but your ABS monitor is going to call it off the plate, even though it still grazed the plate.
Very true.
Which I wanted to see what your opinion is that of a pitcher like you used to be, because you can still graze the plate, but your ABS system is going to call it a ball just because it's going flat and not the whole shape of the plate.
Right. Well, see, here's the way I always took it, and this is the approach I had when pitching. Breaking the plane at the front of the plate is, it doesn't matter if you're barely clipping that front corner of the black of that plate.
Yeah.
If it breaks that plate, the actual vertical plane of the plate, then it's a strike. And that was most often how it was treated by an umpire.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, I think it's going to end up changing some.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
But the difficulty is the approach through the strike zone. I almost feel like it should be brought back, rather than being necessarily at the front of the plate. It should be
Okay.
brought back to the center of the plate, which
Okay.
would allow for moving pitches to travel through the zone differently.
That is true.
But,
Yes.
but every kid knows that as practice pitching the way all of us did, which was painting that chalk line on a solid wall. You learned your strike zone from that painting the line on a solid wall. And you weren't worried about how it moved through the strike zone. You weren't worried about what part of the plate it may or may not have come across. For an accuracy pitcher, we learn by that chalk box.
Yeah.
And if we missed the chalk box, guess what? It was a ball.
Yeah.
So you had to learn to be accurate to that plane, the vertical plane at the front of the plate.
Right.
So
if you read his comments here, he's even saying down here how he hates it and he feels like the whole box has been wrong 20% of the time just because, like you said, it's vertical or it's not the whole thing or not in the right spot.
Right. And I also think, yes, they're showing where the plane is, but is that really where it's recording it?
Right.
That's the graphic they're giving us. But
where is it actually happening? Yeah.
I do agree that if it was a 3D grid, they could be more specific about where it crossed the plate. And then the argument comes into play of, am I right? Where is it the chalk box as if it's on a flat surface that is the actual strike zone? Or will they accept that curve that comes through and hits the
very second,
the back corner of the plate, and the appeal shows it as just barely crossing that line, but it didn't cross the plate until it was 3/4 of the way back, which when I was pitching, that was a ball.
Yeah. But it would be interesting to see something like that. I feel like you would have a lot more elite pitchers in the sense of we'd be seeing a lot more strikeouts if that were the case from pitchers. And probably a lot more complete games because if they were getting that call, they'd probably be able to go a lot further in the games because they were getting the calls they needed instead of getting people walked in on base.
But then again, I feel like you would end up having teams be forced to do more of what the Brewers are doing. Hit the ball where the ball goes. And strike zone completely goes out the window at that point.
Yeah.
We were taught to bunt wherever the ball is. If it's up at your eyeballs, you're going to bunt the ball at your eyeballs because that pitch you're supposed to bunt on. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think the more elite batters are going to be able to overcome that with just powering the ball wherever they want to take it. So the Otanis, the Aaron Judges, the Cal Rileys are just going to power it either way. But the middle of the road, general baseball player is going to have to lean more toward the hit the ball where it goes, not wait for my pitch.
Right. And I will say that's one thing that even like you just said, I'm going to refer back to my Brewers here and they're hitting the way they've been lately. I've noticed that they're playing a lot of long counts. Like they're waiting for the count to go further. They're waiting to get like the 1-0, 2-0. And a lot of times when it's 3-0 or 3-1, they're taking the pitch. Not all the time, but most of the time, just because we're going to work that count. We're going to make the pitcher work for it, and he's going to earn it. And then just when he thinks he has us, we're going to put it right in play, not to crush it, but just to get it into play, get a guy on base, and guess what? You just jacked up your pitch count, and we're still going. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's a tale of two tapes. And ironically enough, of all teams, our two teams to be the tale of two tapes when it comes to baseball.
I remember whenever we were doing the short game stuff that we would have to do laps after the game if we didn't take the first strike the pitcher threw, period. If you did not take that first strike, you were running laps at the end of the game. And it wasn't once the other team leaves, whatever. It was as soon as you shook hands with the other team, you're on the bases running your laps. That's it. Like there was no excuses. Didn't matter home or away. You have to, take it in the chin, so to speak, and be reminded of your mistake in front of everyone. Right. That caused a lot of pitchers to get higher in counts. That caused some of the teams we were up against that had the better pitching. You wear them down, and then they're almost forced to throw in a reliever, or maybe it's one of those days where they got their star pitcher, but their relievers threw too many innings in the last couple of games, so they're not eligible.
Yeah.
Now you might have your best pitcher, and you were hoping they could go 7 or 8 innings, but the reality is they're getting hit all over the place, so you got to take them out in 5, but the only person you can put in is mediocre.
Right.
So I think the Brewers, in their approach this season, is absolutely a great way to approach it.
Yeah.
When you don't have the 4 home run hitters that at least every inning, even if you're only seeing 4 batters an inning or 5 batters an inning,
right,
the chances of you getting your home run hitter up again is every inning you have one.
Right.
Where you guys don't have to worry about that. It's every inning you hit the ball, and you're forcing every ball to be touched by at least 2 people.
Yeah.
That's how you force errors. And you make the defending team work for it.
So I'm going to close this out and go through like our little bit of injuries, coach coming back and whatnot. But then we've been on for 2.5 hours, which is already hands down beat our longest episode we've done yet.
That's awesome.
We kind of got carried away with this baseball outfit, and I love it. But Jackson Churio, our young player who has been a great at bat, and Aaron Vaughn, if you remember how he came on and started blasting the ball after we got him from the White Sox.
Right.
They're on assignment in Nashville. They are actually due back the first week in March. So coming up here next weekend, we should finally see them back in the Brewers lineup. How long they will be in for, or if they're going to start off in a light DH role and alternate, who knows? But
that should be an exciting addition, man.
And then we still don't have Quentin Priester back. He's still on the IL list. We just lost a closer, and now we're waiting on an MRI for Brandon Woodruff. So while we got our hitters back, we've now lost all of our pitchers. So it seems like we're constantly trading off. We don't have a fully healthy team, and I would love to see this roster fully healthy, but I don't know if we're going to get that the way this has been going this year.
So here's where it could get interesting. If you look around the rest of the MLB, who is it that needs a guy with a outstanding on-base percentage come the All-Star break?
Who needs one? I've been following a lot of Milwaukee. I can't tell you a lot of the other teams need.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is your team is building a roster of guys.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That any team looking at their on-base percentages are going to say, that guy looks good for our postseason.
So you're saying maybe not even auditioning for a roster spot, but auditioning for a roster spot for another team as a trading piece per se.
Absolutely. And the way they're coaching it, creates that opportunity where every player is marketable. So let's say Boston needs somebody that is going to fill a gap in their lineup, but at the same time, they have relievers that could clearly fill a gap that you guys need.
Right.
And it makes it much more marketable. Also, the other thing that we haven't looked at yet is those trades from a farm system standpoint. There are a lot of pitchers right now in the farm system that could move in and fill in those holes for the Brewers.
We've actually been using that for like a lot of our pitching rotation.
Right.
Whether it is because if you know, I don't know if you've looked at a lot of what the Brewers have been doing. We have Mizorowski as a starter. We have Woodruff as a starter. And there's only one other guy that has been a consistent starter, and his name is eluding the top of my head right now. But outside of that, it has been, let's give this guy a shot.
Right.
Let's give this guy a shot. So it's not a 5-man rotation in Milwaukee. If you want to call it that. It is a 3-man rotation with a couple plug-and-play guys throughout the –
Right. And at this point in the season, that's doable. That's manageable. Yeah. But as we get further into the season, you know, you're going to have your staples, and you're going to have to be able to stick with them. So moving that much around is going to be a hard sell without having somebody long-term.
And what scares me is our veteran guy, like I just told you today, losing velocity in his arm, getting pulled in the second inning, getting MRIs. Like that leaves us with Mizorowski and a bunch of plug-and-plays right now so we can figure something out.
Well,
what scares me is there, for some odd reason, you know how we talked about that guy for that DL Hall. I don't know if you know that name or not.
Absolutely.
I cannot stand when the Brewers put him in. They put him in. He gives up hits. He gives up runs. We would have a lead. It could be a close game. We could be down by 1 or 2. He goes in. We're down by 4 or 5 now.
Right.
Why they stick with this guy is beyond me. It's almost like Pat Murphy is looking at him like, I have faith in him. He's my guy. I know what he can do. But the problem is we're not seeing what we can do because he hasn't shown us yet.
Right.
And it drives me so crazy when I see him getting ready to be warming up or getting put in. Like, I do not want to see him go out there.
Right. His rating for forcing ground balls is so incredibly low.
Yeah.
That it almost negates the fact that he is a accurate pitcher.
Yeah.
But it's more that everyone can still hit him.
And what scares me as a fan is this guy was a starter last year.
Right.
They brought him in this year as a relieving role. They kept him on the roster. And now, yet again, like I said, Priester's out. Woodruff's out. We have our one closer just go out. Yep. McGill's been struggling, who was our closer last year. Uribe, who has been coming in as our closer, or a little bit of our mid-reliever, is going into a closer role now just because we've lost our closer. McGill's struggling. But who does that leave us with? DL Hall and a bunch of farm system guys, which means they're going to put Hall back in starter. And I am so not looking forward to seeing Pat Murphy do that again.
So think about this. Now this might be a long shot. Okay. But imagine this scenario. Pittsburgh is absolutely stacked in their pitching staff.
Right.
Like when you're talking depth upon depth, they're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had just two guys with a consistent high on-base percentage, it would change the course of their games.
Oh, probably without a doubt.
So to give even the bottom of the barrel a trade of 2 of their weakest guys for 2 of the pick any 2 that are well over 6, well, I would say over 700 with their on-base percentage. The way they're playing right now, you end up with 6 or 7 guys like that.
Right.
So if you get 2 guys with a on-base percentage over 700, then that changes the course of the Pittsburgh lineup. Absolutely.
So you're saying even Pittsburgh and Brewers kind of the next series they have, kind of audition players for each other. And
I mean, they would be silly not to.
yeah.
I just feel like the Brewers have to make a move with their pitching staff somewhere.
And it's been a lot of our farm team currently, and that's
right. But
well,
the Brewers,
granted, we've gotten some surprises. I want to say that they've gotten some surprises out of there. I don't want to talk bad about all of them because some of them have actually done really well. We just had a 25 or 23-year-old come up the other day, make his first career start, and he had a solid 5-inning game where he only gave up 1 run.
Yeah.
Which, for a guy starting his first MLB debut, a great start. So I don't want to say that I'm discrediting the farm system completely. I'm just nervous as to if they're going to ride the hot hand or if they're going to stick with something familiar. And Pat Murphy's history is we're going to stick with what's familiar. And that's what scares me as a fan then.
Right.
So.
And see, that's where it was definitely a interesting thing to see the depth that some of the newcomers, even I keep alluding to Pittsburgh, but Seth Hernandez is a powerhouse.
Right.
And being able to have the depth to where they can flip-flop their pitching staff all over the place and still be a dominant pitching staff. So they can afford to lose a few and gain somewhere else to give them an advantage.
Right.
But I think the Brewers would be silly not to be trying to at least leverage, if they continue the way that they're playing and keeping that on-base percentage up, keeping hits up, keeping RBIs up, and kind of buffering those stats for everyone on the team, then I don't see a trade being in any way a loss for any team that would do it.
I mean, that's very fair. Now, I'm going to close this out with this because I know you missed this tidbit right here. Me as a Brewers fan, I'm rooting for the Pirates tomorrow for one reason and one reason only. Because if the Pirates win tomorrow, then the NL Central will have done something that the MLB has only happened 4 times, and that's our division have every team above 500 entering May 1st. The Pirates need to win tomorrow. They're the only team at 500. If they win and beat the Reds, not only do they knock the Reds down a peg from being first in our division, but we can say, hands down, we got one of the best starts in MLB history as a division, which I think would be awesome going into that because, granted, we're 4th in our division, but even the Pirates, who are last in our division, are the 3rd or 4th best team in the whole entire AL right now.
Right.
Which is astonishing feat at that. So
yes. And it's exciting to me to see that change, especially since what we talked about last season. I really think the overall temperature has changed there. Yeah. I think the idea of the ownership being on the outs and fans chanting it at every game, the sending the message planes over over the stadium, like I think they got the message.
Right.
And I think for the better of baseball, they got the message because they've been a sleeper. They haven't had the capability to climb to the top, and they're absolutely due.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. They have the talent to do it. It's just they got to quit trading that talent away.
Exactly. So while they have the pitching staff, if they can negotiate and get themselves a couple more productive offensive players, I think there's no reason why they can't be contenders this year,
without a doubt. But it's going to be funny to watch that division play out because while Pittsburgh could be having their best season they've had in a while, is their best season they've had in a while going to be able to contend with all of this competition that division's throwing at them, because not every team in that division is going to be able to make the playoffs. Somebody's going to get left out.
Right.
So, but on that note, I think we have been on here well longer than we anticipated, Fred. And I actually think our host here, Alex, fell asleep on us. So
Yes.
I think he's leaving it for us to close it out tonight.
So I gotta say one more thing in closing here.
Okay.
This, while it has gone long, it definitely is proof that we have a ton to talk about. And the excitement that we have for this baseball season, this upcoming football season, I think is a testament to what we've learned and developed as a podcast and as Frozen Takes in the past, and excited to move forward. So I would say thank you to all of you who've watched. Thank you, Aaron, for stepping up and giving some interesting takes.
I feel like it would be awesome to have him on the show at one of these points in times just to talk baseball with us.
Absolutely.
I feel like that would be awesome just to sit here and have him banter baseball with us, because I know he is very hard and stuck in his ways, which even in the comments, I know you know that he's going to be like that. But at the same time, it's going to make for great debates, great entertainment. I would love it.
I mean, the last debate that he and I had was, if nothing else, it was extremely entertaining.
And was that the Red Sox Yankees thing last year, or was it something else?
Yes, but then also the we had talked about the Pirates pitching staff and their their approach to everything. But I just want to say it's exciting to me to see how our knowledge and our investment in sports has developed.
Yes,
and especially for me, I know you were kind of a little bit more in tune than I was, in the last few years over football, and then I was a bit more in tune than you were to baseball. So it's been exciting to develop that.
And I'm just going to give a sponsorship shout out, even though we're not sponsored by them. Thank you, T-Mobile, for giving me free MLB the past 2 years, so I could finally get into the rhythm of this with Milwaukee a lot more, to be able to have these talks with Fred instead of just going, well, I think this, I think that. I've never seen it, but I think this. And now it's like, no, I'm following this. I've seen Milwaukee do this, and I'm seeing a lot more differences and connections that where our half an hour banter that we should have had tonight turned into an hour and 40-minute banter of baseball.
Right.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
But Alex fell asleep on us. I am Ray. Fred, what did we say before we started? We're going to mess this up. Fred.
Yeah. Both ways. Yeah.
Right. And we are Frozen Takes. Thank you all again for coming in tonight, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
If you have any opinions, any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to have us discuss on the podcast, leave a comment. Let us know. Send us a message on our Discord. But even more so, follow, subscribe. We will let you know when we are going to be streaming again, and we hope you join us.
Don't forget.
Thank you again.
Don't forget, it's Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, and as well as Discord. We even have a Facebook page. There's plenty of ways to get in contact with us. Hit us up. Drop a comment. Like
everywhere.
Yeah. And Fred, as far as baseball goes, if you were interested in doing something like every time the Yankees play, if you want to do a Yankees breakdown, I could do a Brewers breakdown every so often, or even once a week. We just have an MLB roundup and discuss some baseball, kind of see what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be down.
So all righty. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night.
All right. Y'all have a good night.